You mention a product out loud once. You never search for it, never type it anywhere, and 2 hours later, there it is in your feed. So you assume the obvious thing: your phone is listening. Almost everyone believes this. And the truth is stranger, and honestly, more unsettling than eavesdropping would be. They don't need to hear you. They already know what you're going to want, often before you say it out loud. And they figured it out from things you'd never think of as personal information. Here's the thing about the listening theory. It would actually be an incredibly inefficient way to target you. Recording and processing constant audio from billions of phones would be enormously expensive, easy to detect, and it would tell advertisers far less than what they already have. Because the real system doesn't work by catching what you say. It works by pattern matching, and it's built out of information so ordinary you've never once thought to protect it. Start with what actually gets collected, not your secrets, the boring stuff. What time you open an app, how long you hover on a photo before scrolling past, which posts you pause on, even if you never like them, what kind of phone you have, and how old it is, roughly where you are and how often you go there, what time you go quiet at night, whether you scroll fast or slow. None of that feels sensitive. Nobody has ever worried about someone finding out how long they looked at a picture of a sofa. But that's exactly why it's so useful, because you don't guard it, and you produce it constantly without noticing. And here's the key move that most people miss. None of it is used to understand you personally. It's used to sort you into groups. Millions of people produce similar patterns, and the system's real skill isn't reading your mind at all. It's noticing that your behavior looks like a group of other people, and then predicting that you'll probably want what that group wanted.
You're not being studied as an individual. You're being matched.
This is where it stops feeling like advertising and starts feeling like fortune-telling. If thousands of people who behaved the way you're behaving this month went on to buy a certain thing, the system doesn't need to hear you mention it. It just plays the odds, and the odds are extremely good. That's why the ad often appears before you've made a decision. You aren't being observed doing something. You're being predicted based on everyone who was in your position slightly earlier. And this is also why it feels supernatural when it lands. You don't remember the 50 ads that missed. You vividly remember the one that arrived the moment you were thinking about it, which makes the system feel far more all-knowing than it actually is. So why does this end up knowing you better than the people closest to you? Because your friends only see the version of you that you choose to show them. They see what you talk about, what you admit to, the interests you're comfortable claiming, the plans you announce. Most of us curate that constantly without even meaning to. The system sees none of that filtering. It sees what you actually do when nobody's watching, at 2 in the morning, when you're bored or anxious or avoiding something you should be doing. It sees the thing you looked at 11 times and never mentioned to anyone. And unlike a friend, it never forgets, never gets distracted, never misremembers, and never gives you the benefit of the doubt. A close friend might know your stated values, your intentions, the person you're trying to be. The system knows your unedited behavior, at scale, across years. And it turns out that what people actually do predicts what they'll buy far better than anything they'd ever say about themselves out loud. And here's the twist that makes this genuinely uncomfortable. A system built to predict what you want doesn't stay neutral for long. Because the easiest way to be right about a prediction is to nudge reality toward it. If it predicts you're interested in something and then shows you that thing repeatedly, it isn't only measuring your interest anymore, it's helping create it. Familiarity feels like preference. Repetition feels like your own idea. You end up wanting things partly because the system decided you were the kind of person who wants them, and then kept putting them in front of you until that became true. It isn't reading your mind. It's quietly making the prediction come true, and the result is almost impossible to tell apart from a mind being read. So no, your phone probably isn't listening. What's happening is less dramatic and far harder to escape. Your ordinary, unguarded behavior is being matched against millions of other people, turned into a forecast, and then gently steered toward becoming accurate.
The uncomfortable part isn't that they know your secrets, it's that they never needed them. So what do you think? What's the creepiest, most oddly specific ad you've ever gotten? Tell me below. If this helped to click, subscribe. Every week, Otto breaks down how the world actually works. Next time, how panic and herd behavior move entire markets. See you then.